this goal in mind, I'm introducing two pieces of legislation that aim to uphold the integrity of this House by punishing members who seek to monetize their misdeeds. My legislation would ensure that members of Congress who have been indicted or convicted of certain crimes, such as those related to fraud and campaign finance violations, are not able to make profit off of their story. The first piece of legislation introduced is the No Fame for Fraud resolution, which would change the House rules to ensure that no one indicted for certain crimes, particularly the Federal Election Act of 1971, or any other offenses that members of Congress may lose their pension for. There's a long list which many of you have. The other bill is the No Fortune for Fraud Act. Ensures that current or former members convicted of those same crimes listed in the Federal Election Act of 1971 permanently cannot profit from their story. It's very simple. If you are defrauding the American people, if you are making a mockery out of the people's house, or violating campaign finance law, you should not be able to turn it into a payday. Should fraudsters like George Santos be indicted or convicted of crimes listed in my legislation, our legislation, they won't be able to make money from a book deal, a TV movie, Dancing with the Stars, or the next Netflix special. Now I'd like to introduce a co-sponsor of this legislation, Congressman Nick LaLota.
Thank you, Anthony, for your leadership and your dedication on this to honestly to right a wrong, not only in this town but in the state of New York. George Santos is a scam artist, and we New York Republicans are here to stop him. George Santos lied about working at Goldman Sachs. He lied about his family owning tens of millions of dollars in property. In fact, the family owns nothing, and his sister is often deadbeat in housing court in New York for not paying her rent. George Santos lied about his income and managing hundreds of millions of dollars in assets. He lied about just about everything, but don't dismiss his lies as not well thought out. George Santos lied to party leaders, to donors, to voters, as all part of a financial scam to enrich himself by creating a persona that he thought would get him more campaign contributions, that he could live a lifestyle that he otherwise couldn't live. And George Santos got away with those lies for 3 years. But on December 21st, the New York Times exposed George Santos's lies. His family did not escape the Holocaust. His mother was not in the South Tower during 9/11. And any other person would have been embarrassed for having been exposed for those lies. They would have shown remorse. They would have hid in shame. But not George Santos. He tweeted more. He went on national TV. He even positioned himself in a center aisle seat during the State of the Union. Why? Because George Santos is dead broke, and he's trying to use his new infamy to enrich himself, to further what he set out to do 3 years ago, to use his persona as a public figure to enrich himself. And we New York Republicans can smell a scam from a mile away, and George Santos's scam absolutely stinks. So this bill, sponsored by Congressman Desposito, an honorable New York PD veteran, who served with honor, this bill will bar a scam that George Santos is trying to continue to perpetuate upon the Congress and the American people, and I'm proud to support it. Next up is a fellow colleague from New York, a fellow Navy veteran who also served our country in uniform, my good friend Brandon Williams.
Great. It's a real honor to stand here with these two men and to stand up for democracy, to stand up for what's right. What's represented here among the three of us are decades of public service. I'm the first nuclear submarine veteran to serve in Congress in 50 years. I've been trusted with some of the most important secrets and weapons of our nation, and I know what integrity is, and George Santos doesn't have any. We have to take action. There is precedence in our legal system that people that commit crimes cannot profit from those crimes while they sit in prison. And while the investigation is still going on, every day it appears more likely that a crime has been committed. And let's talk about the victims for a minute. The victims are the voters of Nassau County. They are the victims of this crime. The crime that's been committed is against the House that sits behind me, the integrity of the body that we represent, of the people that we represent. So just as in other cases, perhaps a murder that's been committed and the perpetrator cannot profit, in the same way, to protect our democracy, to protect the integrity of this House, to protect the voters of Long Island, I'm very proud to stand with these two members today to do the right thing. Not the easy thing, to do the right thing. And I think if you look at the careers of myself and my colleagues, you will see people that have stood up to do the right thing over many decades and to serve with honor. Thank you for that leadership.
Thank you. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Brandon. I also want to remind everyone that today is a fly-in day, so scheduling was a little rough. But also co-sponsoring this bill is Congressman Lawler, Congressman Langworthy, and Congressman Molinaro. Like you heard, we've spent the greater parts of our lives serving the public, whether it be the United States military, whether it be the New York City Police Department. And since my first day on the job, walking up the steps of the United States Capitol, I gave my word to the people of the 4th Congressional District back in Nassau County that I would fight for them, for their interests, and for community values. Now, as members of Congress, we're going to continue to do that. And we're going to hold those accountable that have violated the trust of not only the American people, but the people of the great state of New York. We're going to preserve the people's house. And lying about family escaping from the Holocaust, lying about having a mother that survived one of the darkest days in American history. The lies continue. And he's doubled down on those lies. And we're not going to stand for it anymore. And we're going to make sure that the doubling down on those lies doesn't lead to profit. This is good government agenda. That's what this is about, and that's what we stand for. I'll take any questions.
You mentioned a bunch of Republicans. Why no Democrats on this particular bill? It sounds like some might be interested.
We look forward to having them join us.
Have you spoken to any of them?
I haven't. We started off with the freshman from New York, but anyone who's interested in joining this bill, we welcome them. Like I said, this is a good government agenda. This isn't about Republican or Democrat. It's about doing what's right.
Congressman Basil John would next are on that point, concerning the fact that it's Republicans mostly on this legislation. Can you talk to me about the significance that Republicans, both here on Capitol Hill and also those back in New York, are calling for George Santos to step down?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important because this was perpetuated back in New York. The people of his district, the people of Nassau County, the people of Long Island, the party that I represent, the Nassau County Republican Committee, and our chairman have made it very clear that George Santos is not a Nassau County Republican. He is not our brand. He is not somebody we stand for. Every single elected Republican in Nassau County has called for the resignation of George Santos. We stand together because we represent the great state of New York. And when we're back home trying to deliver for the American people, when we're back home talking to neighbors, talking to residents, when we're back home talking about delivering on the promises that we made during this campaign, and let's be very honest, many of us won seats that were in Democratic hands for many years. All right, people wanted change, and the change they wanted to see was through people like us. And we're not going to let George Santos get in the way of us making change, the change that the people wanted for us to deliver in the people's house.
Would you say it showcases a sense
I think that's what this is all about. The fact is, like Nick mentioned, he continues to create the lies. He continues to create this persona, making sure he had an aisle seat on the State of the Union so he was caught in all the videos so he could engage the president. That's not done by accident. The fact that he likes to engage and fight with us on Twitter and then delete, that's not done by accident. It's done on purpose so people talk about it, so people write about it, so that he is the highlight of nightly news and Saturday Night Live and Jimmy Fallon and every other nightly news show. Yes. We have had conversation with leadership, and we are confident that it will make it to the floor.
Bill, have they given you any commitments? And also, are you satisfied with how they've responded to this? I mean, all the New York Republicans freshmen are very outspoken and Governor Santos. You're a top GOP from New York. He's iconic, but he's not condemned in this sort of way. They're not calling for his resignation. Are you satisfied with the leadership's comments?
I am satisfied with Speaker McCarthy from day one. The leadership team has been open and transparent with us. Our speaker made it very clear that there was going to be an ethics investigation. It was going to be swift. It was going to be concise. And as soon as we got our committees in order and the work began, he delivered, and last week it was announced that the ethics investigation had begun. So I can't speak for everyone, but I know that we've had conversations and that we are very confident with our leadership, and we know that the door's open, their ears are open, and they're listening to every concern that we have. Yes, sir.
Let's go. Way to go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good work.
Thank you.
The legislation says that in order for this to take effect, members of Congress have to be convicted of federal election law or other offense that can be potential. Are you confident that George Santos will be convicted for any of those offenses?
I am not the detective in this relationship, but I'm pretty confident that yes, he's going to be. That was a joke. Yes, I am confident that of everything that we read. Obviously, none of us are part of the investigation, but everything that we've read, the holes in stories, the misinformation, I think all roads are leading to the issues at hand, and we're going to let due process play out.
How does legislation actually stop someone like Congressman Santos from being elected if the truth about his background and his finances come out until after?
Well, this isn't really about getting elected. I think what we're focused on now is making sure that someone who has made a mockery of this institution doesn't then generate a profit from it.
Congressman Katie Edmonds, New York Times. I'm wondering, Congressman Santos' constituents are obviously the ones that are bearing the brunt of a lot of this. They no longer remember who's on committees. What's your message to his constituents?
So the message, and I think I'll speak for all of us because we've all made it very clear, the message to the people of the 3rd Congressional District is that you could reach out to any of us. We're there. We're happy to answer questions. We're happy to help where we can. We are members of the United States Congress. Yes, we represent certain districts, but we're here to do the people's work. And the last time I checked, they are the American people. Yes, sir. One is to change the rules of our Congress, and the other is actually legislation.
And who will enforce this? How will you anticipate it?
The rules will be enforced by the clerk and leadership, and obviously the legislation. We'll get you a copy so we can get you all the information. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you.